We're talking for the first time in history, in the next few years, having something more intelligent than us. It has never happened before. There's $3 trillion committed to AI over the next 5 years. Not 3 billion, 3 trillion. So I had a company when I was 16 years old as well that I ended up selling to one of the subsidiaries of eBay. So I already got into technology then. I still have the power of marketing and technology. I have a really good friend. He's got a marketing agency. He's working directly for Coca-Cola. He did most of their Christmas campaigns. 2 people. And there's marketing agencies that have thousands of people trying to get the same job. The value of an employee is going down exponentially over the next 5 years. So what's your value as an employee? Building your skill set in AI, building some sort of software solution for other people to fix a problem, and learning along the way. So when that happens, you're in a good place. I developed an AI for military, and it was for soldiers coming back from war. Okay, PTSD, very serious problems. And you have to support soldiers, giving them therapy. So we gave them 6 months of a human therapist, and we gave them 6 months of an AI therapist together. What happened is, after 3 months, 87% of the soldiers preferred the AI therapist. I see people working for companies, they sell their souls. What I love doing is showing people a new way of working, right? They go and get a new skill. They get a new superpower. The same way I discovered this superpower and now it's working. And something clicks, something changes in them. And I think just seeing their faces when that happens, it's like, I can actually do my job much faster with this.
Danilo McGarry is not just an AI expert. He's one of the leading global voices shaping the future of artificial intelligence, trusted by governments, Fortune 500s, and millions of people worldwide. If your child asked you, Dad, how do I win in life? What would you tell them?
So I have a rule with my sons. I have 2 sons. The rule is...
Welcome back, Alpha Squad, to another inspiring episode of the Alpha Talk Show, the #1 business and success show in the region. Today's Alpha guest is not just an AI expert. He's one of the leading global voices shaping the future of artificial intelligence, trusted by governments, Fortune 500s, and millions of people worldwide. From growing up with no access to technology, to not speaking English, to becoming one of the most influential AI minds on earth. Teaching millions, advising the biggest organization, and leading multi-billion-dollar tech transformations. Danilo McGarry is living proof that your environment does not limit your destiny. Only your decisions do. This is the story of how a boy far from tech become one of the world's most respected technology leaders. Let's dive into the journey of a man teaching the world AI. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure, Seif. Thanks for having me. And looking forward to our conversation.
So, I always start the show with a question. Once we publish the episode on all the platforms, people will see the thumbnail, the graphics, the title, yourself. And you will see that, oh, that's an interesting episode. What can you promise them today to gain if they give us their time?
I think what I can promise is to give people hope. Hope in the fact that a lot of people feel stuck today. Hope in the fact that they will know what to do with AI, because there's a lot of people going around talking about AI, giving advice that they don't know what they're talking about. I've lived and breathed it for 20 years. And I think also hope in the fact that, I came from a very normal, underprivileged even background, and I managed to get to the top of this subject, which is the hardest subject today. And I didn't have anything special. I didn't have any magic. It was just hard work and consistency. So I think those ingredients will come into it as well. And I hope people will leave, again, with hope, with the fact that they can go and do it themselves.
I love that. We're looking forward because you started AI also from long ago. So I would like to also understand, from where did you come from and what hooked you on AI? So now we know you, top 20, top 30, top 50. But let's go back in the days.
Yeah. So born in Brazil in the 1980s. Don't want to give my full age away.
But it looks like we're in the same generation.
Yeah. And, in a place where, if you look at the pictures, it's kind of the things you see in Narcos, Mexico, didn't have concrete on the walls, pretty simple background, no telephone, pretty basic life. Then, my mother, who was an absolute warrior, she fought for our family to have a better time, a better upbringing, and we managed to go to England when I was about 7 years old.
Okay.
I landed in England not knowing a word of English, haven't never touched a computer, not even touched a phone. And I became very curious. I couldn't speak English, so I wanted to blend in very quickly. I think since I was very young, I had this thing in my DNA of being able to touch people quickly and understand my place quickly and to build quickly. So I discovered chess, and I discovered I'm very good at chess, and I started to make friends in chess clubs.
Okay.
And I started to gain respect in my school, because it was a very respected academic school, by being the smartest in chess, right? And then I started to speak English and so on. Anyway, fast forward, ended up going to some very good universities, ended up breaking some records. I had a company when I was 16 years old as well that I ended up selling to one of the subsidiaries of eBay.
Oh, okay.
So I already got into technology then. I saw the power of marketing and technology.
But did you study something related to tech or engineering or?
No. I just I always focus on business.
Okay.
Business environment, business administration, and just business. Very general topics. And to be honest, I advise anybody that's young listening to do that. You shouldn't specialize too quickly. I see a lot of like 15-year-olds building SaaS, AI solutions today, and it's like, it's too early, man. Like, you don't know the world yet. You don't know what people need.
True, and how fast will change.
Yeah, the world is changing. You don't know what customers want, how to market things. You got to explore it more broadly in the beginning. Anyway, I went to university.
But I want to know about the company a little bit.
Sure.
At the age of 15, what was this company, and what made you build the company at that age?
So again, being from an underprivileged background, I managed to somehow go to a very prestigious school. Again, my mother, absolute warrior, yeah? And I saw kids literally owning Porsche 911s at the age of 16, 17, having boats. So I started seeing that, well, that's quite interesting. They are trading, they're selling to each other. But at that society level, it's a bit of, it's frowned upon. If you sell something, it's like you're really not rich if you're selling things. So I saw an opportunity to create an exchange, but a closed eBay, essentially just for the school. And you make a commission on a Porsche 911 or on a Feheci 46-foot boat. It's pretty nice.
Good.
And then I ended up actually using the money to build a creche in Brazil. I started doing some voluntary work, just helping kids that came from families that were addicted to drugs and alcohol. And I saw the opportunity to build a creche there, to use the money. I mean, I had like $18,000. It wasn't that much as a profit at the end. And built that, and then went to the UK to go to university.
Amazing. Which field in university? Like which?
Again, business.
Business. Totally.
Yeah. A business again. I knew I wanted to run a business and create a business one day, but I didn't know exactly what. And AI back then wasn't even a word. It was like something that we're inside of a lab with crazy people, right? So I went to university, and then I got poached by banks. So I worked for JP Morgan. I got exposure to the CEO, Jimmy Dimon, and some other pretty powerful people very quickly. I invented some things I didn't have before, using technology, using coding. I started to learn.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I was in the credit hybrids industry at that time, 2006, more or less. And that's like the height of the credit boom,
True.
right?
And then hitting to 2008.
And as soon as I saw, I literally got a 15-minute training from my boss, the head of trading, to go and trade credit hybrids, right? It's not even credit products.
Exactly.
I mean, this is a bit too technical, but CDO squared, CDO synthetics, mezzanine CDOs, like the most advanced, the most structured credit products. And I got a 15-minute training session. And immediately when I left, I had the gut feel, this is going to go wrong. This market is wrong. There's something wrong here. And I started to build code to better understand the true value of the trades. And I started to then go out to my bosses and say, look, this is overvalued. This is going to crash. And they were like completely deluded by the credit market, which was at the hype. Anyway, I ended up moving to Royal Bank of Canada at the time. And it was about 2 months before Lehman's went bankrupt. And immediately when I went in, I saw the same problem there. And I went straight to the credit desk, got to reduce our credit exposure. Something bad's going to happen very soon. And they actually believed me. So the funny thing is, Royal Bank of Canada was 110th in the world in terms of balance sheet size. I managed to get rid of a lot of our credit exposure, and we became 9th in the world.
No way.
And at the age of 24, I became a director in Royal Bank of Canada.
Wow.
So a global director, I then became head of efficiency, and then I fell in love with the fact you can use AI for analytics, AI
So
for
at this
coding,
period,
and
you
so on.
understood that there is an AI, there is something happening with artificial intelligence.
Yeah. I mean, back then it was a mixture of just C# coding and so on. Automation, some analytics, and touching a little bit on algorithms I was starting to build. I mean, that was the sole reason why the bank is 130 years old. I became a director at 24, as the youngest ever director in the bank's history. Then I started to appear in newspapers. University started to reach out to me to understand my methods. Then it started to go crazy. I started to speak. And then the whole journey of this AI, guy started. Yeah.
You told me that you were living in Dubai for 4 years.
Yeah.
So you finished your corporate career in a bank, right? In banking in general, and then you moved to Dubai, or what happened?
No, I was working in banking for quite a long time. Then I ended up working in Citigroup. I became the global head of AI for Citigroup. Then became the global head of AI for United Health Group, which is America's 5th largest company. It makes 8 times more money than Goldman Sachs.
Oh, okay.
So the healthcare industry is very big and very profitable. So when I was in banking, I thought, wow, this is it. This is the biggest industry, but healthcare is way bigger. Then I got into a technology company for oil and gas.
Okay.
That then I brought to Dubai, and we ended up selling it to one of the governments here locally. And then, at that time I had some personal things going on with my father, had to help look after him, and then moved back to the UK to do that. And
what is the transition between being in corporate and being on your own? Tell me about this and why it happened.
I think it's a really important topic because a lot of good people today I see are employees, and they are scared to take that leap to become an entrepreneur, right? They got very comfortable with their monthly paycheck. They know they're going to get every month.
The certainty part.
The certainty point, the fact that they can have people helping them, there's an infrastructure around them. And look, I did that as well, like 15 years, right? So like you yourself as well. And it's great. But there's a couple of things that happens. So one is you become a domesticated cat. You cannot go and hunt in the wild. And that's very important when shit hits the fan. I'm allowed to swear. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
And the second thing is, you start losing yourself a little bit, because the higher up you go in the corporate world, the more rules you have to abide by. You have to talk this way. You have to go and do this next. And this is your agenda. You don't even think anymore. And the other problem is also, you can never become a true millionaire or plus if you're an employee. Like, if we're honest, a lot of people who are managing directors, even C-level, they're getting like 1-2 million max, unless they work for a Fortune 5 company, right? And they get diluted by these share options and all these other things that they offer them. So I very quickly realized, look, no, I want to change my generation.
But though you were working in an industry that it's full of great network, full of money, full of, I would say, prospect, like the future, banking.
Yeah, and man, it deludes you, this environment, because you're making trading decisions which are worth 50, 100, 200 million, right? I remember putting a trade down for 2 billion plus.
True.
I'm like a 20-year-old. And every time it was bonus time, Ferraris would come to the front, deliveries, and you think, wow, I'm going to have all this one day. But the problem is that, banking after 2008 took a massive change. And all of these traders earning millions started to earn hundreds of thousands. And they started to get share options. So the structures changed. And I saw that coming very quickly as well. So that's why I wanted to pivot. I wanted to have my own company. I want to create generational wealth to change the generations before me, so that my sons can go and build much bigger things than me. And I think whoever is an employee today, if you are at the managerial level, it's because you're pretty good. Like, you've done something special to get there. Either you're good at decision making, or you're a good visionary.
People management.
People, that's the key, people, right? And if you're good with people, you should have your own company. So I don't see the point of any person who's in a managerial role and above to kind of be working for somebody else. Like, you can make it on your own. You have the skills. You just need the guts to go and do it. And you got to have something that you care about as well.
So what was the first move? So the decision came, the moment, I'm leaving corporate and I'm going to build my own thing.
So I saw very quickly that companies, they understand AI is important, but very few of them understand how to implement it properly, right? So, like, how do you envisage the future of your company next year with AI? Most executives and strategists, they can't imagine that. They can give you some very vague points, but nothing really detailed. So I saw a gap in the market. I said, look, I'm well known for AI, but I want to be the number one person for creating value with AI, turning AI into gold. Yeah. And this is becoming my nickname now. This kind of the AI gold turner or whatever it is. So then I decided to do a project, a really big project. I partnered up with a private equity group who bought a business services company, a very manual company doing accounting, tax, very manual things, Excel sheets everywhere. And said, look, can we come into this company and transform it? So it was bought for 900 million euros. I went in, I was head of transformation, came in with my guys, my technology, my know-how, 4 years of grinding. COVID hits. Like, oh my God, I want to transform this company, but then the world is also changing. But we stuck to it. I mean, I was doing something like 90-hour weeks for like 2 years straight. Like sleeping 2 hours a day. It was obsession, right? We got to the point where after 4 years, we managed to sell the company for 4.9 billion to another private equity group. And then that's it. I'm like, it works. I used to do this in teams inside of big companies. Now I've done it for an entire company. And then it went really crazy. All the private equity groups started coming after me. Let's go buy this company, you transform it, we do the exit. And I started to do a lot of speeches back then because people started to want to know how am I doing this? Because a lot of people they're not having success with AI.
Let me stop you here for a bit. So
sorry, people, the story is really crazy. Yeah,
it's perfect. But I want people to grasp when you say transformation.
Yeah.
When you come into a company and say, I'm going to do a transformation. What do you mean exactly?
Yeah. So let's pick something that everybody can relate to, sales, right? Every company has a sales team. Sometimes companies have a call center. They have BDR, SDR people doing cold calling.
Yeah.
And then they have the salespeople actually meeting with clients, etc. So one of the departments that have the most amount of disruption is sales. Like today, I own a solar energy company. The entire thing is backed by AI. AI does all the calls. AI does all the booking. AI does all the outreach. The salespeople only receive warm leads.
Okay, for closing.
For closing. So when I say transforming a company, I'm talking about two things. I'm talking about changing the go-to-market strategy, using AI to analyze your market better, understand your customers better so you can sell better and more accurately, instead of just shooting and hoping for the best. And then there is the operating model of the company, where you have the IT, marketing, finance departments, how the internal engine of the company works, and completely eliminating manual work. So putting in automations where we can, putting intelligence with AI where we can. And then you get to a point where the correlation between revenue and cost of the company starts to divert. And no matter how much revenue you're getting, you're not increasing the cost of people. You're actually going the opposite direction.
True.
And when you do that, you create a much bigger profitability, EBITDA improves, and valuations are drawn on EBITDA and revenue. So if your EBITDA is getting better and you have a multiple of 7-8x on top of that, but it's half of where it is, your valuation doubles. So I got that very quickly. It's a valuation hack with AI. And that's what I'm known for today is causing valuation changes by changing the go-to-market and the operating model of companies with AI.
When you talk about go-to-market,
and this is your area, CMO, right? Like, you understand the market well, how to go and get clients.
The point is, I believe there are two types of companies. One which is starting up, I'm starting, and one which already running and big and huge. When you come into both of these companies, we're saying I'm gonna make it automated / AI ready. Which one is easier? When you're starting up or a big founded?
You have different problems, right? So pros and cons. So the big company has obviously a lot of money, they have funding, they have credibility. So anything you do there, it's easier from a monetary point of view to get the money to go and do it.
Okay.
But change management is really hard because some people have been there for 10 years, 20 years. And there's that, that saying that I hate, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I want to shoot everybody that says that. Because it does not move in times with the market, right? Like the market is totally changing. So big companies are good for money, bad for change management. Small companies is the opposite, right? They don't have the money. It's very hard to make those budget decisions. You've got to raise money, dilute equity. So it's a hard decision to make. But people in a startup, they have a different mentality, right? The startup mentality, the founder mentality, the hustle mentality. So it's much easier to show them, look, if you automate this, you're going to be able to double your clients. Let's go do it. Yes, they sign up.
Done.
In the other company where they don't have equity, they've been there for 10 years, They don't necessarily get incentivized or paid to go and do those things better. They don't have the motivation to go and do that. And also in a large company, when you start reaching certain heights, by taking these risks, you actually become at risk of being laid off, fired. So, it's very hard. And it's also much harder to turn a Titanic ship than to turn a little boat, right?
True.
So there's pros and cons. Today, to be honest, because there's a lot of demand for the methodologies, the way that I work, and the services, because of the software company I have as well called Active Automation. We work with medium to large companies because we want to create like hundreds of millions, billions in value. And up to today, we've created a total of $2 billion in value for companies.
Lovely. What is the proudest project that you worked on? And give me a little bit of details on it.
To be honest, what motivates me today is not the size of the project, is not the, how much millions or billions we created. It's honestly, I see people working for companies, they sell their souls. They go in there every day, they probably spend an hour in traffic. They go and sit down on the job they don't really like. And then they go back home, they get the paycheck, which is suboptimal, not enough to pay their bills. And you start seeing people, they've basically sold their soul. What I love doing is showing people a new way of working, right? They go and get a new skill. They get a new superpower. The same way I discovered the superpower and now it's working. And something clicks, something changes in them. And I think just seeing their faces when that happens, it's like, I can actually do my job much faster with this. I can then go and do something else. There's more chance for me to be promoted. Or maybe I can use this to start a business. It's when they get their essence back, they get their meaning of life back. And it sounds a little bit romantic to say this, but it's the best moments that I've had is when I see that in people's eyes. I give them hope again that they can actually do something interesting with their lives instead of just going to work for a paycheck.
Back in the days when I finished university and I understood the power of automation, I was working in one mobile operator. It's called Orange.
Oh yeah, I know Orange, yeah.
I remember the time that I used to work the whole week, trust me, the whole week to compile some quality reports that I hated my life.
Yeah.
You understand? I'm graduated from an engineering university, top school, and then I sit the whole week just compiling data on Excel sheet and oh shit, that's gonna be my life.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I discovered what is called the macros in the Excel. So I automated it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I did the report in 3 minutes. And
it's an aha moment, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I can do much more with that. That's exactly what you're saying. If you were telling me this back in the days, of course, my eyes will, oh my God, I can do things in 3 minutes and I can do other stuff.
But you see, there's a problem here. As soon as you go in a corporate world to your boss, hey, I can do this in 20 minutes instead of 2 days, what's going to happen? Oh, you can do more work.
Exactly.
Here's more work.
Here you go. True.
But not necessarily a promotion, not necessarily, some sort of equity. I've seen people who running 2-3 people companies competing with a company that has 100 people.
Yeah.
I have a really good friend. He's got a marketing agency. He's working directly for Coca-Cola. He did most of their Christmas campaigns. 2 people.
No way.
And there's marketing agencies that have thousands of people trying to get the same job.
True.
So when you see things like that, it doesn't make any sense anymore, first of all, to be an employee, because also the value of an employee is going down exponentially over the next 5 years. As we approach AGI in less than 5 years, companies are going to be able to deploy agents that can do anything a human can do. Completely. So what's your value as an employee? So is it better to wait until that happens? Or is it better to start looking at this now, building your skill set in AI, building some sort of software solution for other people to fix a problem, and learning along the way, so when that happens, you're in a good place.
True.
Rather than trying to scramble like everybody else. So I don't understand why people are working for companies anymore. True. I really don't.
Let's say I'm a mid-sized small company coming to you and tell you, go ahead, automate my process, make it AI-driven company.
Yeah.
What is the first thing that you look at?
So this is going to surprise people, but the last thing I look at is tools. Because the first question I get is, Danilo, what tools do we use?
Exactly.
What tools can I use? I said, but tools to fix what problem? You don't go to a doctor and you say, oh, what's the medicine I need to take?
Let me check first.
He's going to say, but I have to do an examination. I have to check what's wrong with you. Then I can give you the right medication, or not even a medication. So I always say to people, the first thing you got to do is to start educating your workforce. Because I can come in, my team can come in from Active, and we can do wonders. But if we're dealing with people that don't understand the value of the work, don't understand how to transform a company, it's like hitting a brick wall. So the first thing is educate your people. Take them on a course, take them on a workshop, get them to do a hackathon, let them try these things a little bit in a very simple, childlike manner. Once they start understanding how it's easy for them to do, then we go to the next step, which is then looking at process. And everyone's like, process? That's so boring. You're in AI and you talk about process. But think about it, right? How can you automate a process? When you say putting AI into a company, it means automating things that the company does. What does a company do? A company does processes. Inside of those processes is hundreds of tasks. If you don't understand how to engineer those tasks in a different way so that AI can do the right things, humans can do the right things, you'll never transform your company. So that's why the second thing is you got to go and look at your process. You re-engineer. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Today I was on stage doing a speech. I made a comparison between humans and ChatGPT 5.
Okay.
So what's the biggest difference? We cannot remember everything that we learn, everything we read. AI remembers everything it reads. We cannot read a report 1,000 pages in minutes or seconds like ChatGPT can. When we look at strategy, we haven't read every book on earth, so we're not very good at strategy. We can be with experience, but it takes a long time to build a strategy document. AI can do it in seconds. So when you start looking at what humans are good at, what AI is good at, you start seeing very clearly that there's certain work that should go to AI, certain work that should go to humans. So when I say process, I mean redesigning the operating model of your company, what your company does, based on this new skill set that you have, this new power that you have with AI. So you've designed your processes. Then you know what the problem is because you looked at the hotspots where
the bottlenecks, boring tasks.
Why can that team not scale twice? Why is that team bored? Why are people leaving? Why is the attrition rate high? Then you start applying tools to fix those problems. Okay, so tools is one of the last things that you do. But one really key ingredient, you can buy the world's best AI. You can buy the world's best tool. You can go to Microsoft, you can go to SAP, you can go to the best, right? But end of the day, if you don't have a methodology of how to roll it out, if you don't understand people management, change management, how to incentivize them correctly, you can have OpenAI's entire engineering team working for you, it won't work. So the methodologies and frameworks are really key. And that's the ones that I'm giving out for free. I mean, these are methodologies I've spent over $100 million building with BCG, with PwC, with EY, and I'm giving it out for free every day. Because that's the last key ingredient that people are missing. They just think I'll go buy the most expensive AI and I'm good and it's going to work. No, you have to apply it in the right way.
You mentioned something very interesting, but you didn't say the other part. You said like ChatGPT is good at giving strategy, reading thousands of papers, bam, bam, bam. What we will be good at, humans. So we'll still be good at something. What is it?
Yeah, it's complicated. So when I look at, remember back a few years ago, people were saying AI cannot be creative. And boy, were they wrong, right? Exactly. So AI can create videos, can create artwork. So that's not true. It can be artistic. And the other thing that people were saying recently is that AI cannot be strategic. Not true. I mean, I've helped audit companies and I've compared the performance of an M&A audit team versus an AI audit team, and they did much better. So the strategy AI is beating humans today. And then we said, okay, emotions. AI cannot feel, AI is not conscious. But I have a really big argument to that. A while back, I developed an AI for military, and it was for soldiers coming back from war. Okay, PTSD, very serious problems. And you have to support soldiers, giving them therapy. So we gave them 6 months of a human therapist, and we gave them 6 months of an AI therapist together. What happened is after 3 months, 87% of the soldiers preferred the AI therapist.
No way.
Because the AI therapist wouldn't forget what they said every session, wouldn't have to look back at notes, wouldn't sleep in the sessions. Believe it or not, therapists sleep in sessions. I've heard this many times. And they're humans, right? Like imagine there's a human listening to people's problems every single day. It's not possible that a human who does a lot of therapy can be a good therapist to other people. I don't believe that. So even in the most intimate conversations, AI is there. I did another thing to prove that. I'm a tech columnist for Wired magazine, and we wanted to play with how is AI changing relationships. Okay, so it's just like, no way AI is going to change somebody's relationship. We did a study all over the world, and we started to see that there's a really high percentage of people talking to their AIs in an intimate way. And it's, if you think about it in the beginning, it's surprising, but it's not. Because think about it, the AI never forgets your birthday, never forgets special moments, it never forgets things that you told it, 6 months ago. It's almost like a perfect partner from a conversation point of view, right? That's why this industry of robotics and personal, girlfriends, boyfriends is becoming a really big thing. Because a lot of people lost faith in relationships, right? Because they don't want to go through that hard thing of going and building a marriage or a relationship with someone else. So going back to your question, what are humans going to be good at?
Exactly.
So then AI is going to beat us at everything, even relationships. Okay, the film Her, that's going to become it's already possible now, but from a physical form, it's going to be possible in a few years. So what are humans going to be good at? So it's a long answer, but humans, if you think about it, we wake up, people who are employees, they wake up every day, go to work, work, pay taxes, not in UAE, but in Europe, pay a lot of taxes. And then they buy stuff, and then they maybe use a credit card to go eat, sleep, repeat, get fat, lose weight. It's not a very purposeful life, okay? Unless you've discovered you can help people, do something, cure disease. Most people are not living a purposeful life. So when AI comes in, and already by Q1 next year is going to be more intelligent than us. The average IQ over GPT 5.2 is going to be around 300 IQ. Okay, I mean, I have a decent IQ, but it's nowhere near 300. So it's going to force us out of the work market. Now, different generations are going to react differently. And I love generational bias, right? I've studied this my whole life. And again, it's about learning how to deal with people. So when you look at the baby boomer era, people who are mostly CEOs today, right? They're 50, 60. They are very attached to their work. When you go into a social event with them, one of the first questions they're going to ask you is, what do you do? They don't mean your hobby, they mean for work, because work defines them. If I look at my father, I look at my uncles, they work like hell, right? And that's all they do. They're really crap at having conversations. They're really bad at emotions and dealing with people, great at work. Not necessarily great fathers either, and all that kind of stuff. So baby boomers are going to suffer a lot. They're not going to be able to adapt very well. And they're also at the end of their working careers. So, okay, but they're going to suffer a lot. Millennials are going to suffer almost as much as baby boomers because they lived in a household where their father was never around, always working. And then they also started to commit the same mistakes themselves, but not as much. Then when you start getting to Generation Z, Generation Alpha, they're more used to this whole environment of volatility, things changing, things being digital. And they're going to start to understand that there is a higher purpose to life. And sometimes when we look at teenagers today, we say, oh, that person is just lazy. It's not. That teenager has worked out that they don't want to go to work every day, pay taxes, eat, sleep, repeat. They want to have something bigger in their life. So I believe, to finish the answer, I believe that humans are going to be forced into a space where they have to pick a higher purpose than themselves. I think satellite states are going to come together. Governments are going to start coming together, but in fragments. So it won't be a thing of like US, UK, Germany. There's going to be a lot more joining between governments to pursue common goals. So this goal could be trying to find infinite energy, trying to do space exploration, because there's only one little Earth, right? True. There's millions and billions of planets out there. And maybe we can find the cure to all diseases, like Mark Zuckerberg is trying to do with his wife, and Google's trying to do with DeepMind, with Demis Habisis and a few other people. I think that's the direction of mankind, or humanity, let's say, to be politically correct, is finding this greater purpose. And we start looking at those things rather than necessarily materialism, trying to accumulate things and conquer. When you reach a higher intelligence, you start looking at a greater purpose. And you also see this a lot in billionaires. Met Guy Hans recently, one of the richest people in the UK. And then if you look at Richard Branson, if you look at Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, what do they do at the end of their life? They're giving money away to charity. True. The media says it's because of taxes. It is. but it's also because they have found that even building these billions and billions of dollars has not fulfilled them.
True.
Right? But helping other people is what fulfills you. So in the end, I think a higher intelligence will always go towards that, finding a greater purpose. And to answer your question in a very long way, that's what humans are going to be good at, finding that purpose, the meaning of life because of AI.
With all this population that we live in, a huge population, all these people will be looking for purpose. Where's
No.
the bread and butter?
No, there's obviously going to be, like everything in life, fragmentations, right? People that are a bit more switched on, they're going to find that a little bit sooner. But I think the new generation coming in, I speak to a lot of Generation Alpha. I go to a lot of schools to talk to kids and to mentor them. I think they get it faster than we have. I think they understand that there's something bigger they can work towards, and they're going to have ridiculous dreams, right? The first $1 trillion companies are going to be built by alphas, right? We're already getting to that with NVIDIA and some others, but there's going to be hundreds of $1 trillion companies in the next 5-10 years.
What advice would you give to humans?
Like I'm some sort of alien.
Exactly.
So it depends what age and what stage you are in your career. I think if you are a person who has a bit of work experience, you're an employee today, you have to start building a side hustle. Side hustles are not an option anymore. It's a form of insurance. So as your employability and also your employee value goes down exponentially over the next 5 years as we reach AGI intelligence, what is your insurance policy? What are you going to go and do? You have to start building your side hustle.
True.
I mean, I can say this now because legally nobody can come after me, but when I was in companies, I was building side hustles all the time, right? I was building companies, I was building services, I was doing speeches. And a lot of employees, they're not allowed to do that because it's in their contract. They can't go and do anything else except to be a slave for that company. So build a side hustle. It is your insurance policy to be able to survive in the next 5 years. If you're a young person, if you're like a teenager or below, it's really about curiosity and trying to build a muscle for problem solving. This is the biggest thing.
Okay.
So if you look at AI, what is AI essentially? It's a bit like electricity. And if you look at the toaster, if you look at the kettle, which you don't have much in UAE.
True.
But if you look at, the microwave is a wrapper to electricity. What we need to think about now is, for young kids coming up trying to solve problems is, what is their wrapper to AI? Are they going to build a solution that helps people sell better? Are they going to build a solution that helps create more creative things like videos? Are they going to help find a solution that helps people with their diet? What is the wrapper on AI? Just like we built a whole life and industry on building wrappers on electricity.
True.
Right? Electricity by itself, not that useful unless you build things on top of it and solutions. The same thing with AI. So if you're a young person, you got to start focusing on that. But you can only do that if you start thinking about problem solving. And that's a real muscle that you have to grow over time.
Let's go back in the days when the internet came. A couple of people jumped in.
Yeah.
There were people left out. Then came the era of the crypto and the blockchain. A couple of people jumped in. People were left out.
Yeah.
But these days, there's a bigger bubble, which is AI. The thing with the boomings that happened before with the internet or the crypto or if you left out was fine. I just didn't jump on the trend.
Yeah.
But what we see these days, if you don't jump on AI, you will be screwed.
Yeah, I truly agree.
So
let's talk
the
about
people who exactly.
Yeah.
The bubble is so big that if you decided to be on the side and say like, no, it's not for me. I don't like tech. I don't want to be in that area. You will literally be screwed. You see this around a lot, that people are deciding to step aside, but these people at the end, they will be literally screwed because
it's different.
The whole world is going in that direction.
This time is different. It's not like the dot-com era. If you didn't jump on .com, you could have still survived. Right? You could still have a shop on the road.
True.
If it's a busy road, you get enough foot traffic, you can sell things. But this is different. Blockchain, I mean, if you didn't trade crypto, okay, you can still buy shares in companies and gold and whatever. You can still survive trading other things. But AI is different. We're talking for the first time, in history, in the next few years, having something more intelligent than us. That has never happened before.
True.
There's $3 trillion committed to AI over the next 5 years. Not 3 billion, 3 trillion. There's more investment going into AI than for getting away from hydrocarbons to make the world a better place, to get rid of pollution, the thing that can kill us.
True.
There's more money going to AI than into that. So when you have so much brute force behind something, so much money, so much infrastructure and investment, yes, it's a bubble. Some companies are overvalued. And also there's a lot of tricks happening in the world of AI, which people need to be aware of. Companies selling services to one so they can buy their product,
Exactly.
inflating revenue, that kind of stuff. I won't name the actual names because I speak to them all the time.
Yeah.
But it's different this time. We've never had this turning point where we're no longer the smartest in the room. There's something else. And just to be clear, this thing of Terminator, AI is going to take over the world, it's going to kill all the humans. I honestly think this is nonsense. Again, when you meet people who are highly intelligent, the biggest correlation that I see is the more intelligent you are, the less attached to material things you are.
Yes, true.
Because the more you start realizing the true meaning of life, you start understanding that it's not accumulating things, it's accumulating experiences and helping people. You get this with a lot of very, very smart people. And of course, unfortunately, sometimes people who are very rich get to that point, and then you get a little bit, sidetracked. Oh, but they think that way because they already have money. But no, there's a lot of smart people who don't have money that got to that point faster than others. So, there's a lot of things which are different this time. It would be really foolish for somebody to take the dot-com era, the crypto, booms and busts, and apply it to AI, because this is a totally different scenario. The amount of money is different, and the intelligence part is something we've never had before. So please don't make that mistake. And I see people doing it.
True.
People saying, "Oh, let's wait 6 months. It's going to get better. Let's wait another year until we have agency."
Or it's a bubble and it's going to burst.
Yeah, but people forget that it's a bit like with consistency, right? We've learned this the hard way. It compounds over time. If I start my AI journey today versus in 1 year, it's not going to be that I'm 1 year ahead. I'm actually going to be 3 years ahead because it compounds over time. I learn things that someone else is going to learn in 1 year from now. So the compounding learnings of applying AI to your business and to your personal life, you have to start now. If you leave it to later, you're going to be years behind someone else.
Let's say somebody's listening to us now and watching, so like, oh shit, I need to move.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, with AI, it's so huge. It's so huge. What will be the first 3 things that you will tell them to do? Like, and practical ones, like do this, that, in order to start the journey.
Yeah. So this is also very different to other people's advice. The last thing I'll tell you to do is go and do a course. Okay. I filmed courses my whole life. I filmed courses for LinkedIn, for all kinds of big organizations for training. And the process of filming a course, people need to understand this. It takes months for you to film a course, or weeks. Then it takes months for you to actually publicize it and market it so there's enough interest, because the marketing side. And then it goes out. So we're talking like 6 months to 9 months before a course goes out. 6 to 9 months in the world of AI is like a lifetime.
True.
I have 2 people on my team fully dedicated to just telling me the updates of AI because it happens every day. There's 10, 20 updates every day. So, the fact that things are happening so fast, it's really important for people to realize that they have to start now, right? If they leave it until later, it's going to be really disastrous. And if you go and do a course, big mistake. The best way to learn anything in life, and I'm a testament to that because I'm not an AI engineer and I'm one of the best in the world today, is by getting your hands dirty.
True.
Actually go and find a problem to solve and just start doing it. Go to ChatGPT first, ask how you would solve it. Then you start getting into vibe coding tools like Lovable, Cursor. Start building the actual solution. You're going to learn so much from that. You're going to have to go to watch YouTube videos, other people who are going through the same hustle, and you're going to learn from them. You're going to start building a community around you of people who are trying to build AI systems. That's the best way of learning. Getting your hands dirty, but don't just, pick just let's
random
go.
Things,
don't go out and learn AI. You got to actually fix an actual problem. And it's something I do. I have a little note on my phone, and it's an obsession that I have. Every time I encounter something that is slightly inefficient, I note it down. If I go, and do something, I go travel to a country and I've got to buy a ticket. I'm like, man, this could have been better. Put it down. I go and I'm doing something with my work. I'm doing some sort of analytics or something that can be better. Write it down. If you do that as a consistent habit, you're going to build a brain of problem solving. And one day you're going to hit the jackpot.
True.
You're going to find that problem that at least another 100 people around you have, And if you build a solution, you have 100 customers straight away. And there's a whole, the marketing side, there's a whole, it's not just having a great idea and a great solution, because who cares if nobody knows about it?
Exactly.
Right? Then there's the whole marketing side that people have to really understand how to do. Learning how to sell and market something is an art. Building a waiting list, I love those. And it's something that, Daniel Priestley really taught me. You go and solve a problem, you demo it to people, and you start a waiting list. And if it hits a certain number, if it's 500 or 1,000, you have a backing to go and build that. And if you sell it, you're going to be successful. So if people want to de-risk, a lot of people listening are employees. They're very risk adverse. There is a way to do it, that you're not risking your life. You can still build this while you're in the company. You're building a waiting list. You're building a solution to a problem in a very safe way, right? You get confirmation you have 1,000 customers. Go and make it happen.
Exactly. Test the market before. These days, every day we wake up, either there is an AI company, an AI tool. Sometimes it's becoming, you feel like it's a hype rather than it's a real thing. For people watching, and based on your experience, how can I would say the audience understand this is absolute bull? Well, because there were companies we heard like for example in the UK that were backed by a particular nationality doing the thing. How can we understand this is really genuine thing that we should look at, try, train ourselves in, or it's an absolute bull? Because literally each and every day now, and it's like a trend. A person who was used to be a fitness trainer suddenly became an AI expert. Like, you understand, a chef became an AI expert. Just jumping on a trend. But the majority of the people, they don't see this. How can we differentiate? Is it genuine, or it's a hype?
So I have a very strong framework on what I focus on in my life. Okay, it's called the sphere of influence. I'm very strict with what I pay attention to and not. So the only things that I care about, that I spend energy on, is the things directly inside my sphere of influence. Choosing when I wake up, who I hang out with, where I go, when I brush my teeth, what I eat. Everything outside of my sphere of influence, I pay attention to it, but I will never spend my actual time on it. Okay? So that's why my recommendation was to look at a problem, because that problem is inside of your sphere of influence. It's a problem that is bugging you. If you go and build a solution and you look at solutions for that problem, you're dealing with your sphere of influence. Now, I have 2 people working for me full time looking at everything else, because I don't want to focus energy on that. And I think people, they shouldn't care if AI is bull or not, right? What they should care about is AI is important. If that box is ticked and they know it's going to change the world, the hype, the bubble, that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
How can they apply that to solve a problem inside of their sphere of influence? And I also like this framework because it helps reduce anxiety, right? What makes you anxious? The fact that you have fear. Why do you have fear? Because you don't have control. So when I mention the word AI and I see a certain reaction in people, I always love to see the psychology behind it. Why were you scared by that word? Oh, because it's going to change the world. It's going to go do this, it's going to do that. But why? I start digging and I get to the point where it's because they don't have the education on the topic. They don't have control. Because of that, and they're focusing on something they don't have control on, they have anxiety.
True.
And anxiety brings depression, a whole bunch of things and problems. Anxiety is not a useful tool. You cannot build something on anxiety, right? So again, sphere of influence. And I have this framework from experience, right? I also got, when I started to see the things coming out in AI, and I get access to things 6, 12 months or plus ahead of time, because I'm in the circle of AI, I can see these things which are coming out in the future. I also started to get anxious. I'm like, oh my God, the world is going to change. And I see it, and I see all these people, just watching crazy, stupid programs, wasting their life, 6 hours on their phone on Instagram, and they're not focusing on it. And I started to get very anxious. But what did I do? I looked to my sphere of influence. How can I help people? I go and do speeches. I go and have the podcast. I go and do interviews, and I give them all my knowledge. And then I sleep better at night, right? At least I've done my part. I've told everybody about it. If they do something about it, and I've given them all their frameworks they can go and use. If they don't do something about it, we say in Ireland, you can bring a horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink.
True.
Right?
True.
You give the person the knowledge, they don't do a thing about it, that's their fault.
What will be the biggest myth you hear about in AI? People just keep saying, it's going to conquer the world, it's going to kill us.
Yeah.
What is the biggest one?
The biggest myth is this thing that AI is going to take over the world and kill us. It's a super intelligence. It has no need for material things. If anything, it would actually ease us into a situation where we help ourselves, because that's then a useful thing to do, right? Destroying the world. What is AI going to do with Earth? It has no need for it. So the biggest myth is this Terminator, it's Hollywood's fault, right? For giving us, but I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I'm trying to get him on the podcast soon. So that's the biggest myth. The second biggest myth is there's a difference between AGI and ASI. Do you want me to go into that?
Yeah.
Okay. So ASI is artificial general intelligence. We already have that from a text point of view.
Okay.
So it's a text system that is that is smarter than any human, right? We can talk to a ChatGPT 5.1 about anything, right? We cannot, before we used to go to our fathers, our uncles for this amazing knowledge, or encyclopedia or Google. Now we go to that. It's going to evolve to a point where it's going to be able to read and remember everything it's ever read and join the concepts together. But these are concepts which have been created by humans. So that's AGI. It's a textbook smart worm that can remember everything and join the dots. And that's going to be very useful. We're going to cure many diseases, going to do a lot of things with that. But ASI is a different kind of intelligence. ASI, artificial super intelligence, is an intelligence that invents new concepts in maths, new concepts in physics, things that we have not invented before, that will allow us to create infinite energy, hyperloop in hyperspace, all kinds of stuff. And that is an intelligence that some scholars believe will never happen. And I've learned in my life, you should never say never. So I genuinely believe AGI is already here, and I can prove that. And I know, because I can see the things coming out next 6-12 months. The full form of AGI, where it's working on computers as agents, working inside of humanoid robots, is going to become online in the next couple of years. It's already happening, but it's going to become really good in 5 years. So by 2030 maximum, we will have the full version of AGI, a full system that's got an IQ of 400 or 500 plus, like way smarter than any of us. But ASI is going to take a little longer. I think it will take about 15 to 20 years.
Will we be ever living in an era where robots will be more than humans?
I don't think that will be the case in the next 5 to 10 years. Because it's like anything with technology, right? The cost of building a robot is just too high. You can get this robot Neo, for instance, for 100,000. But if people read the print very carefully, Neo is not actually a real humanoid. It's a person controlling Neo from another place, a human. And over time, Neo is going to start learning what it's doing, right? And then we're going to eventually get to a point where the robot is applying AGI intelligence to the real world. Now, to get to the point where robots are cheap enough to mass produce, they can be cheap enough for you to hire to do labor in your house. It's going to take a very long time for the economics to make sense. I know from living in Dubai, you can get someone to work in your house for a couple of $100 a month. It's a robot which costs 50,000.
Exactly.
It's going to take a long time for you to make that switch.
True.
People who make that switch in the beginning are going to be people that want to be cool. Right?
Early adopters,
because they love technology, but economically it won't make sense for another 10 years.
I love that. For CEOs, leadership teams and companies that they're looking to go in towards the transformation, what kind of advice you give them before they step into this? What kind of advice?
So I did a bit of research with some of the large consultancy firms. Deloitte is one of those. We found that 80% of boards of companies honestly declared that they don't have enough knowledge on AI in order to govern their companies. Now think about that for a second. If you're a Fortune 500 company, you've got 20 people in your board, and 80% of them don't have the skills to govern the company in an era of AI. So the first thing I would do if I'm a CEO of a company is go and change my board. Okay, have one person that understands AI really well. Then 2, then 3, you got to have quite a few. Because dissemination of structure and strategy starts at the top. There's no point a manager in a company trying to do something with AI if the instruction from the top is not to focus on that. And if in his or her objectives is not focused on this. So it starts at the top. And then education. Get people to do workshops to understand it better, hackathons, get their hands dirty, to feel it, to touch it. And then look at bringing people who have skills to help you in the beginning. So for instance, Active, we build centers of excellence for companies. Our aim is not to be inside a company 10 years. Our aim is to come in for 1 year, set up your team, set up AI, do 2 or 3 projects and get out and teach you the skills to go do it yourself. Because we have thousands of customers waiting, right? So we can do that. So that's the thing. We want to teach people how to do that properly. And I think if I'm a CEO executive, change the board, education, bring in outside skill to get me started, and then start reskilling people on the back of that.
I love that. A lot of people thinking about AI, and they tell you, oh, sorry, I don't have a tech or an engineering background, so it's not my forte.
Yeah.
Do they need to have a tech background? Do they need to come from an engineering background, computer science, or it's an acquired skill?
I hear this a lot. So I'm living proof. I've never done, well, I didn't do a computer science degree. I did later do many technical degrees because I had to. So the biggest thing here is it's a couple of combinations, I think, for somebody to do really well with AI. Again, that hyper focus on sphere of influence, being a very focused person, because you can get distracted really easy with AI. You see, AI is going to bring out the best and the worst in you. If you're somebody who spends loads of money, you're going to build AI agents that's going to spend your money.
True.
If you're a person who is hyper focused, you love solving problems, AI is going to help you solve a lot more problems. So it's a little bit like, the worst things in life, right? It's going to bring out the best and the worst in you. So I think it's very important for someone to look at the sphere of influence, focus on that, and then be very careful on the bad side, right? What is the bad things that AI is causing in my life? So for instance, I have some friends, they're having problems in their relationships because they're talking about the intimate problems to the AI and not to their girlfriends or wives, right?
True.
So I think it's very important for the person to focus on that, right? If you're focused on solving a problem, being very conscious about yourself and how you're evolving as a person, focus on solving problems primarily with that focus on sphere of influence, you will do well. It doesn't matter if you have a tech background, if you have a finance background. If anything, it's actually very good to have a specialism because then you know a problem really well and you can go deep into that problem. And when you solve it properly, right?
I love it. Where do you see AI going? Or let's put it that way. Of course, you see where it's going, but what keeps you anxious? Of course, something is happening.
Yeah.
The evolution, maybe people will not be ready to it. So that's why it keeps you like, oh shit, I need either to inform people, I need to do something about it.
So there's something that I haven't been anxious for a long time about AI. I'm not anxious about AI itself. What I'm anxious about is AI being used to control people. So we see, for instance, in China, right? Yeah. There is absolute control. You have a credit social system. If you jaywalk, you cross the street without being green, right? You cannot leave the country. Like all these crazy things are happening. And it's only possible because of facial recognition and some other things. You pay with the palm of your hand, etc. So my fear is that governments who don't understand AI well, and I know because I advise many governments, they start using it to control as a form of defense. Because if all of my people start building solopreneur enterprises, enterprises are global. The governments are local. They have a border. And, if everybody starts moving to Dubai, which they are, in order not to pay taxes in Europe, those governments are going to lose out. So how do they keep people? They're going to have to have control. We're starting to see this in the UK. There's the Brit card that's coming out, which is going to control basically all of the services, public services that you have. And they say it's to kind of stop illegal immigration, that kind of stuff. It's not. And I see many other governments doing the same as well. So my biggest fear right now is the fact that governments will control. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are sheep, people who just do what they're told. It happened during COVID, right? Vaccinations. Get vaccinated or you can't travel or you can't go to work. Now, something similar is going to happen with AI. Governments are going to find a way to introduce it so that you have to be dependent on it and they use it against you.
I hope it's not going to happen. I hope it's not going to happen. This is a point blank question. Where's the money in AI? A lot of people will be asking, where's the money in AI?
So there's 2 areas, I think. Obviously, building SaaS solutions, spinning them up very quickly and selling them to private equity groups, VCs. And again, you can do that vibe coding yourself. Like a team of 2 or 3 people can build $100 million application. I think the other area which is really valuable, where I'm focusing on more, is being able to set up AI for everybody else. Because if you think about it, if you empower someone to do it properly, they can go and achieve great things. They cannot achieve great things unless they set it up properly, so they're dependent on you to set it up for them. So the business of setting up AI, the business of helping a company infiltrate AI into their operations, go-to-market strategy, operating model, there's a really massive area there. And a lot of this year, for instance, I trained 90,000 senior partners in McKinsey, BCG, PwC, EY, Capgemini, all of them, because they don't have the working knowledge of how to implement AI in a company. They don't know how to sell it. But I think that's the most valuable space, is building AI for other people and then building side hustles and SaaS solutions and selling them. You can make, millions of dollars in each one very quickly.
I'm very curious about one thing. Back in the days when I used to work in corporate, we used to hire the BCGs, the McKinseys, and so on and so forth. And then they spend months creating strategy documents. The strategy documents like this. And then we take it, we put it in the drawer, we close it. Thank you very much, done. Does it happen these days with AI transformation? It's like you come in, you do things. Okay, thank you, done. Move.
So there's two things here. One is you needed consultants before because you need their knowledge. But today knowledge is democratized. It's free. I can go to ChatGPT, Gemini, any of them and learn anything. So you don't need a consultant for strategy anymore, but you're still going to need consultants for execution. So all of the consultancies, they're going to go through an era where they were selling knowledge, strategy decks, beautiful PowerPoints. Oh my God. I mean, I tried and I couldn't get to that level. But what happens? Shareholders, board members, they want to see the tangible result. What can they touch in the balance sheet and the profit and loss account? And the BCGs and McKinsey of the world don't get them there. So actually, in the last 18 months, there's been a lot of noise in the market. If you're in the market, you know it very quickly. A lot of big companies are going away from the big four. They are canceling the contracts. My little software company has managed to kick out a few of those guys, right? With like 100 people, right? Versus 50, 60,000 people. So a lot of the smarter companies are starting to realize, strategy is nice, but we need to show value. Because as a CEO, your board is waiting, your shareholders are waiting. You're going to be fired if you don't do it. So the execution side is king, and the consultancy companies are learning. They're going to get there, but they're going to become more of an execution body shop in the future, rather than having to be a strategy company. Yeah. And look, there's an art, there's a science in execution, right? In the logistics of implementing AI, making a company an AI first organization. So that's going to be very valuable. But the focus is going to change from beautiful decks to doing stuff, to making stuff.
That's because culture changed. When I'm talking about, like, when you come into a company and say, like, I'm going to do the digital transformation, the automation, the AI part. Do you see this happening also? Or like all the companies that you were in, they executed what you did? Or once you're done with your stuff, it's like heavy, no need to change now. The bot is moving already.
Yeah, I mean, you get all kinds of companies. You get the ones which look at it and go, oh, the word transformation, it gives them PTSD. It's like, wow, we've tried transformations before, with BCG or McKinsey or EY, and it didn't work, and we spent 100 million, and it's like, people got fired because of it. So sometimes you need to be careful with the word. Transformation is a big topic, like AI and everything else. So you need to understand the client, right? Some clients, you say that word, they run away. Like they run a million miles, even if you're really good at that.
True.
And then you have clients that get it, right? Like they approach you straight away. I think the clients that we work with today is the clients that come and knock on our door.
Because they
want it, right? Like they've heard the speeches, they've seen the frameworks, or strange thing that's happening is my methods are being taught in 100 universities around the world. And the children which are learning those things are going to their parents, talking about it. The parents are going, oh, wow. And then coming to me. This is happening already. So that education piece is there. But you got to, it's like I said with the horse example, right? You got to wait for, everybody comes around and evolves in different speeds. You just got to wait for the company to get to the point where they go, yeah, we need it and we know we got to have it.
I want to give additional value on this interview. You said your methods are being taught in universities. That's one. Anything about it.
Talk about one.
Yeah, and even in a nutshell.
Oh boy. So there's three main frameworks that I give out for free. I just talk about. I want people to know them. So one is, how do you actually implement AI? So there's around a process. You got to look at workflow engines, which is a big topic. Yeah. It's a little technical, and then you look at AI and automation. And if you do that enough, you get to a point where you get to a company which is agentic, right? Okay. An autonomous enterprise. But that's one framework. One framework cannot exist without the others. The other one is also the framework for scaling AI. You can have something called AI POC purgatory, right? Where there's a lot of cool experiments, 100 experiments here and there, and you do this one little thing, but they don't really transform a company. So how do you scale, a program that has a lot of POCs into major enterprise-wide solutions? So there's a framework for that. And one of the last frameworks is to do with how to incentivize people to care about it properly, so that the change management piece happens. Because again,
very important one.
You can know exactly how to do it. You can have the best tech, the best scaling system, but the people don't want it. It will never happen.
It's dead. It's like this exactly. The BCG is putting in the drawer.
It goes in the drawer. So how to incentivize people is those three major frameworks that I teach.
And people can find it online.
Yeah, it's all over the internet. It's on all of my speeches. It's free.
Everybody, go find it and read it. AI is taking over. I have a section in the show called The Pure Human Behind the Alpha. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just to reveal the human behind the alpha sitting.
Oh.
Ready? So beyond the titles, the achievements, what does success means to you now as a human?
Honestly, I would be fulfilled. I would throw everything away the moment that one of my two sons, and this has happened to one of them already, can look at me in the eye and say, wow, you did well, Dad. You brought me up. I feel like I'm a man. I'm ready to go into society. That's it.
Respect.
If I had that, I won't need anything else.
Have you ever felt lonely in your journey?
Oh yeah, many times. Actually, even as last year, I went through 2 or 3 months of, I was in bad place. Because, when you start understanding that there's a massive opportunity and you're building it, right? And you're in the dark hours of the night, 3, 4 in the morning, you're making things, you're helping companies, your friends don't get it. Of course, I ended up changing a lot of my friends because, you are the result of the people around you. But, a lot of those childhood friends, right, you grew up with who just don't have the same concept to life, you love them. But then you have to make the very difficult decision of, do I stay with them and coach them through it? As my coaching period with them ended, is it over? And I can still love them from a distance. So I went through a period last year where I had to kind of clean up a little bit. The people around me weren't helping.
A tough one.
Yeah, very tough one. I still love all of them. I'm respectful to all of them, but you have to surround yourself with people who are of similar mentality of going to make things happen, the hustle, because it's a lonely world if you don't do that. People don't understand you.
What do you fear losing most?
No, good one. I think I don't fear losing my genuine drive. My genuine drive is to help people. I don't fear losing that. But what if one day a company comes to me and says, here's $2 billion and I want you to use this to go and build weapons? I probably will say no. But I also, if I'm honest, everybody has a price. And I might say no, but the fact that I thought about it is already a seed that's been planted. So I think there's a lot of money in AI. There's a lot of people that want to do things with AI which are not ethical or correct. And I'm steering away from that as much as I can. But, in the right time, in the right moment, these things can turn your heads. And my fear is to lose the essence. I want to stay on the track of helping people use AI to make a better life for themselves through their companies, through their personal life, whatever it is, but they have to use it to make their life better. I don't want to lose that.
What's one thing people completely misunderstood about you?
In the journey of teaching people about this, you have to end up selling a personal brand. And I think in the beginning, and maybe still now, and people just don't tell me, people misunderstand you for being arrogant. Look what a show off. He's going on stage and look at that. He's got the YouTube channel, la, 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 la. But honestly, I hate speaking. The first speeches I had, I cried because of anxiety, right? Because I didn't want to go up on stage, and I lost my voice in one of the speeches because my throat tightened up. I hate speaking. But I grew to love it because this is the only avenue that I have in order to disseminate knowledge. I need to build that personal brand. But I think some people misunderstand that, you know, this is an alter ego, you know, like, look at this guy going around in these great places.
True.
The misunderstanding is I'm a genuine, you know, super low maintenance guy. I may dress fancy because I got to go on stage, because I have to deliver a certain personal brand for people to pay attention.
True.
But if you look at me in my house, in my pajamas, I'm drinking water, I'm super simple. I came from a simple place, and I never forget that.
What truly makes you happy outside all the stages and the impact? What truly makes you happy?
A couple of things, not in order, but you know, a hug and a kiss from my wife is pretty special. From the person you love, from my mother, very special. Family, I think, is very important. I think seeing people that have that aha moment, like I can change my life now, that's very special, because outside of my family life, this is my mission. So those two things. I mean, if I have 100 of those a year, that's it. I'm happy.
What's your personal philosophy of a meaningful life?
I think it goes back to, you know, helping people. It goes back to a higher purpose. I think there's so many frameworks, there's so many psychologists that talk about this. It's nothing new. It's not something I've discovered, I invented. But I remember the loneliest times in my life was when I had the most amount of money. It was very cool. You know, get into a supercar, great. Go into this beautiful office, great. But it goes very quickly. But, you know, having the moment of spending time with someone, helping them, changing their life, and you become friends through that interaction, that's timeless, right? Exactly. You take that to your deathbed.
True. We're in the Alpha Talk show. I always have a nugget question, which asks the alpha guest, how do you define an alpha? What's an alpha for you?
So, traveling to many countries, like you have as well, I think there's a lot of cultural context to this answer. But I think an alpha is somebody that does something even though they don't like it, but they do it out of duty. You know, when we look at Queen Elizabeth, 50 years she was the Queen of England. Did she like it? No. She couldn't walk outside of her house. She couldn't go shopping. She couldn't go and spend time with her friends. She hated it, but she carried it out of duty. And she was very public about it. She very, very openly said, I don't like what I do, but I do it because of duty. This was my purpose given to me. So I think an alpha is somebody that does something even though they don't like it. They do it because they need to, because there's a system or there's people depending on them in order to carry out that duty.
I love how you said it. If I ask you to continue a statement, the real power of AI is
how I can practically use it myself.
And finally, if your child asked you, Dad, how do I win in life? What would you tell them?
So I have a rule with my sons. I have two sons. The rule is they can, if they want to go work for someone else, they can, but only for 6 months. 12 months maximum, otherwise I disown them. They have to, I won't obviously, but they have to go and start their own company. Because that journey of starting a company, failing, you know, I've had failures as well, and I learned the most out of those failures. So I want them to go and do that. I want them to start that journey as quickly as possible. I've got a 10-year-old. He's going to build a company next year with me. We have the plans already, what it's going to be. So it's starting that journey, because when you start a company, you learn how to serve people, you learn human psychology really well, learn how to sell, marketing, all the things you need to be successful in life. There's no other job that can teach you this in such a crunch space of time. So that's what I'm forcing them to do. That's the only thing I can, that they get access to anything in terms of when I die, is they have to have their own company.
The last part of the show is what is called the Alpha Talks memoir, where the Alpha guest will write the experience in the show, but after we stop recording, but he will do one more thing. He'll write a question to the next Alpha guest, which means that you're gonna answer a question from the previous Alpha guest.
Oh wow, okay, let's go.
So are you ready?
This reminds me of Stephen, Diary of a CEO. It's a very nice tradition, actually.
Best one. It's a really good way of connecting the people. Even the question I don't know. So it's
this is great. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully you can read the handwriting.
Yeah, it's a tough
if
one.
It was a doctor, you're in trouble now.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
What would you have told your 16 years old self about your life ahead?
Wow.
Did you ever imagine you're going to be in that position?
No, not in the position I'm in today. Look, not that I'm special, right? Like, if there's always
the
higher
path. Yeah, even the path.
Yeah.
The AI expert top in the world.
No, I never would have dreamed this. Even dreamed it, right? Never guessed it. I think I would have just said, look, it's going to be okay. Just learn the art of consistency and you'll be fine. And I think with a lot of young kids today, like a lot, my son is 17, right? So I can relate. That thing of, trying 2 times and failing and giving up, that's really hard to see. And, as a kid, I didn't have that. I would die, I would move a mountain, but I wouldn't give up. So I wish that more upon other people. And I also, if I was speaking to my 16-year-old self, I would say, look, just keep at it and it's going to be okay. And yeah, thankfully I did. Not always. I did give up many times on many topics. But overall, this need to do something great with my life, to change the generation of my family, this always stuck with me. I didn't know what it was back then, but it stuck.
If I'm going to close with one last question, what keeps you in the top of your game with AI? From your perspective, of course.
I think I have a privileged position because, a couple of months ago, I was with the CEO of NVIDIA for 2 days. The CEO of Mistral. I'm in this inner circle of AI. And I get to see these things coming out in 6-12 months from now. And I think that gives me an immense advantage. Because if I know what's happening in the future, which is uncertain for a lot of people, I can then plan better. I can build companies better. I can advise better. So I think it's what helps me stay in my game. It's the reason why I love having conversations like this. It's the reason why I teach people, because then people tell me more things.
True.
It's amazing. The more you are in the spotlight, the more information that you get from all directions. And of course, I have some cheat codes, right? I have AIs running every day, telling me what happens. I have 2 people doing just this every day. I have a software company helping clients every day, and all of that gets fed back. And yeah, I think I'm pretty switched on what's happening in the world of business and AI and performance efficiency. But without that infrastructure, I don't think I'll be able to provide the value that I can today.
It's been a pleasure. I'm sure all the Alpha audience would love this episode. There is a lot of value, knowledge. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. I'm positive that the feedback in the region from this episode will be great. And I look forward to see you in UK.
Yes, very soon on my podcast.
Yeah,
Let's do it. I'd love to.
Will happen. And looking forward to see you moving to Dubai. Yeah. I believe there are a lot to do. I would say even like in this moment in life, that's going to be the best place, especially with the things that you're doing. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and hope to see you very soon.
Thank you, Seif. It's been a pleasure, really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That wraps another inspiring episode of today's show. I hope that this episode has ignited your inner alpha and left you feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to conquer any challenge that comes your way. Remember, alphas aren't born, they're made. It isn't about dominating others, it's about embracing your authenticity, leading with integrity, and making a positive impact on the world. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the Alpha Talks on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us a review and share the podcast with your fellow alphas. Also connect with us on social media at Seif El Hakim. Share your thoughts, insight, and stories of personal and business growth with us. Let's create a movement of alphas supporting one another. The world needs more alphas like you exactly. Until next time, stay bold, stay driven, and stay alpha.